Hello YouTube, I'm back again with another duel, and I'm sure some of you guys are tired of me playing the Beals archetype, I'll be honest. Again, I just want to showcase the new cards that it made. This is the first Beals offering. So the reason why I created some new support for Beals, I don't know if you guys checked my Instagram, but I showcased a ban list, or actually limited a couple of cards from the Beals archetype. I'm just gonna name them for you. The one of them is the field spell that's called Beelzebub's Nest, as well as Beelzebub Arc Dragon. So they're all limited. I personally don't see a reason to actually ban the cards, because at the same time, I think if you limit their options, the options for this archetype, then it shouldn't be too much of a problem, because you want the deck to actually be playable as well. It's just that you don't, that way, so those cards you don't see them too often for them to be problematic. And you're aware how their effects work, like you can read right now. And with this deck, doesn't require a lot of discarding, so just to like actually make the deck less broken, it's to actually give this deck some limitation. So it actually restricts it from getting free extenders. It limits the deck from getting easy searches. So it ensures that you have to like discard or tribute in order to activate certain card effects for you to push to your end board. It's the only way you can push for your end board. You have to earn it by having to give up some cards in this deck. So, and the hits were definitely necessary. Based on my experience, like in this deck, you're gonna notice that it's gonna require a lot more discarding, tributing, and special summoning a monster from your hand for free isn't too much of a big deal as long as there's restriction. I made sure to do that, and you have to limit the effects. So even if you control a dark insect tuner monster and you special summon a non-tuner for free, the whole point of that is that what makes it what is it that makes the card problematic? Because you need those kind of extenders for the deck to be playable, especially in this current format. Special summoning for a monster for free from hand, depending on its effects. If its effects aren't too broken, it shouldn't be that much of an issue. Where it should be where the player should keep their eyes on that card for it to be put on the ban list. And this is the card that's limited, so there's no reason to play more than one. Since obviously it's already limited, and you already have ways of accessing it besides terraforming. And I'll show you why it's limited. You can already read the facts as to why I did it. But either way, this isn't going to be a long duel, so because it's essentially a monster you're born for dark insects and dark dragon monsters. On top of that, it's the fact that you can outright special summon a monster from your deck for free without any restriction. So these two actually make it as if you're playing your very own monster reborn for the archetype. So, and as you can already tell, I use Nightcrawler's effect, copying Giant Centipede. So it allows me to draw two more. So this is a card that I would main through. If I was thinking, people are thinking whether this card should get hit, I disagree, because you only specifically target Beals monsters, and because it's essentially part of the archetype. If it was like any generic card in your field graveyard, then it would have to get hit, or it depends how broken that monster is. So right now I'm waiting whether I want to synchro summon or not, using Agaron because he's already an insect tuner as well as synchro monster, so making him very useful for potential synchro plays, whether it's in this deck or for synchrons. Alright, just waiting. I'm just figuring what I'm going to synchro summon into, so because that's what mainly my extra deck is heavily utilized on. So alright, this is where I decided where I can change the levels of one of my Beelzebub monsters. So for now, I'm going to do Behemoth Moth. Or I'm debating whether I want to do Behemoth Moth or Hard Beetle. That means Fat Forest. I'm going to do level 8 actually. Hard Beetle becomes level 4 instead. Alright, I already used, and it's twice per turn by the way, you guys, so I'm thinking what else am I going to do. And Agravern becomes level 1. As you see what I'm going to do right now. Or I mean, oh my bad. He becomes level 3 actually. I meant to say level 3, my bad. Oops. Even though I said level 1, I meant to say level 3 because I thought the effect would be legal, but I was being stupid, so. As you're aware, I'm going to use Dispatter's effect. Alright, he's thinking. Yeah, so you realize I do kind of get mixed up sometimes. I don't mean to say things I do. It's just because I'm very hesitant when I say things. I just try to get straight to the point, and I sometimes come across confusing because especially when you're talking really fast, you just lose track of what you said because you try to recall everything that you said, but you instantly forget because your mind's on other things. So what I'm trying to say, you're not going to keep track of the most important things that you said, and it kind of conscrews to what you're saying. But in reality, you meant to say the other way around. So here, I potentially go into another link play, which I'm about to do right now. So I'm going to tribute one of my monsters. I'm going to go into a level 6 synchro for Ariath. I'm going to banish Agravern. And we're going to see right now, I go into Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, and I'll use Beelzebub's post effect. I'm thinking what I'm going to do. I'm going to add Crimson Beels just in case. Alright, cool. Set it. 2 cards, and then pass. But before I end my turn, I'm going to use Dark Alchemist's effect, which you're going to see right now. Morning, Dad. How are you? Yeah. So yeah, you don't mind if I go tournament today, or? Yeah. Oh, okay. Is it in the afternoon, or? So I assume you guys are going to be out for the night. So it's okay. I'll just stay home today. It's alright. But which downtown are in Toronto? What part of downtown, Dad? What part of downtown, though? So are we going to mainly be in the car, or are we like walking, or? Oh, okay. Alright. Alright, see you. Alright, sorry about that, you guys. Not trying to get you involved in a family matter, but I had to talk. I can't cut any of this right now, so I could, but I don't have the right requirements because it could outright force me to delete my video and reset everything, and you don't want to go through that. So, but as I said earlier, I returned the monsters from my bench zone to the graveyard thanks to Dark Alchemist's effect, and then we'll proceed. Alright. So that was a bit long. That was just a waste of a couple of minutes, but either way, I'm trying to handle business, so. But it's not going to stop me from continuing with this duel, so. He's going to play a lure. 2. I'm not gonna let him bait me into using waste one of my effects, which is either Archetype Abyss or Collapse. Alright. I'll wait until the last card's played, or when he uses his best card. So he's gonna go ahead and summon Avenge Vulture, and I'm using the effect of Beel's Offering to use, as you're gonna see right now. I gotta banish 2 insects. I can special summon Guardian Dragon, but how it works, depending when I banish. If I banish a tuner, then I can summon a synchro monster instead. That's fine. Sure, he'll use Nest, but in response, I'm going to chain with Abyss, so his effect does not resolve. Alright, I'm just waiting on my opponent, so I'll continue. He's going to play Red Copper Call, I'll let him continue with the play. Sure. He's going to exceed for rank 4 with 3 materials, and then in response to summon, I'll use my counter trap, Beelzebub Collapse. That'll force his monster into the deck. Yes, it negates it. He's forced back to the deck, and then I say good game, bro, and I'll ask him any tips. And again, I apologize to you guys if I haven't been talking as much in this video, but I feel like I could not stop this video because there's so much that need to be said. Even if had matters involved in the video, who cares? So it's not like much is going on, but either way, what matters, you got to see the duel, what this deck is capable of, as well as the hits that I made and the restrictions, and letting you be aware how, if it's still capable of what it's doing right now. So with the new support, this is the card I mentioned that's limited. You'll see why it's limited. Let me just show you why it's limited. Give me a moment. Mouse is being really annoying, so this is the reason why I limit this card. I don't think it deserves to get banned because it is heavily abusable when graveyard. On top of that, this is one of the cards that also helps you protect your back row, as well as this card from card effects. So that need to be put in check, even though it may not be easy to summon. On top of that, like if you manage to have a second one on field, it gets even worse because while you control face-up spell trap cards, you can banish cards your opponent controls and/or graveyard up to that amount, depending on the number of monsters you use, depending on the number of monsters you banish from your hand, field, or graveyard. But it only resolves it depending on the number of spell trap cards you control that are face up. So that's the only way you can activate its effect. But the worst part is that this could potentially create degenerate loops, and this is something you have to be aware of. That I actually included for this card, that could be heavily utilized and might be a problem in the future, even though it's not really TCG we're talking about here. But read this effect. As you can see, you can banish this card, including 1 tuner monster from your graveyard. Special summon 1 dark attribute insect or insect type synchro monster from your graveyard bench, except Beelzebub Arc Dragon. You can only use each effect, obviously, Arc Dragon once per turn. And I just wanted to get my point across here about Archetype, and I'm being honest about the hits and what it is capable, but I still want to be playable and function properly with the cards that are meant to make the deck competitive, considering it's pretty much its very own archetype, as well as like giving you access to dragon monsters. I think that's a very unique and interesting strategy. And insects, to be real, not in my life have I seen insects be competitive, so I feel like this would be a good way to show what they're capable of. If you try to add some innovation and you try to put effort and make them compete with the new contenders. I already said enough, but either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to check for more upcoming content later future. Be sure to check your notifications, comment, like, subscribe. Thank you.